Hello there, wrestling fans. I'm gonna do a video by fan request, meaning if I by any means have any fans out there on YouTube. And it's gonna be a comparison, a competition, so to speak, between TNA Knockouts and WWE Divas and who's the best. Unfortunately, I cannot remember who gave me the suggestion. Of course, I should have wrote it down or something so I could pay tribute and credit to the one who suggested it to me, gave me the foundation for this video. I've also received a suggestion talking about Matt Hardy's future in WWE and how I think they portray and use Matt Hardy and what I think of it and how they should do it. So if you who suggested this to me sees this, tell me it was you so I can give you credit in case I make that video. Same goes for the person who suggested to me to talk about the pay-per-view name changes in WWE, such as TLC, Hell in a Cell, Breaking Point, Bragging Rights, so I can give credit to you in order if I make that video. I'm gonna make this TNA versus WWE Divas comparison in 6 stages. It's gonna be in skills, value to the company, importance to the company, and the company's intentions, the star power, and the characters themselves. So if we start by the skills, WWE Divas are indeed held back a lot more than TNA Knockouts. We should be very aware of that before we knock the Divas in WWE for being very poor and not having it in the ring. However, WWE has a lot of good Divas. Maryse has come as of late, really good in-ring psychology. They have Mickie James, Beth Phoenix, Gail Kim coming from TNA, all very good wrestlers. But they also bring up divas and women who are not that very good in the ring because simply they don't have that much respect for the division. In TNA, however, they do that. Before I go in there, WWE here gets 3.5 stars for their skills of their women, and I give TNA a 5 simply because I don't see how the TNA Knockouts could be any better than they are. They are all great, they bring great in-ring action, hardcore matches, all out there, it's all out war, a lot of feuds, interesting feuds, and a lot of stuff going on all the time. And they bring in women who are indeed very, very good, while WWE bring up eye candy a lot of times. So even though it's become a lot better, back a few years ago it was even more eye candy based women in WWE than it is right now. The next thing I'm gonna go right into is the value of the Divas. TNA sees the value in the Divas simply in their knockouts. Simply why? Because WWE don't care about their Divas. So TNA are gonna do everything they can to do something different from WWE. They know that fans around on the IWC and around the world are not very happy with WWE Divas and the way they are portrayed. So they know they can make a profit from this. And they know that they can prevail on this by doing better women's wrestling, and that's what they do. The value, however, it's not of course on top, because if it was on top they would have had the Divas main eventing on pay-per-views, etc., and on Impact tapings. They are not doing that, but they are at least having, while WWE haven't had a Divas match on the 2 latest pay-per-view cards, TNA seldomly has less than 2 matches on every pay-per-view card with women. So here I give the value of 4 to TNA. WWE gets 2.5 because at least they have 2 titles. If we go to the company's intentions, TNA here has 2 titles now. TNA Championship for the Knockouts and the Tag Team Championship for the Knockouts. That's pretty unheard of in wrestling. It has happened before, but it's very, very exceptional, and they're making a big deal out of this, even capitalizing even more on the fact that WWE's women's division isn't that very good. So company's intentions, of course, once again, they are not pushing them to the moon in main events, etc. So I'll give TNA a 4 here. And they do, because they have a lot of storylines about women, and they have intricate storylines involving both men and women. In WWE they are kind of segregated. Women here, men here. Women can be featured along with men as their valets, but that's mostly the longest WWE will go there. So WWE gets 2.5 here, while TNA gets a 4 in company's intentions. If we go to importance, The importance for TNA is pretty big on Impact, because actually the knockout segments are the highest rated segments a lot of times on Impact shows. I don't know how much impact they have on the show as a total, how much of a draw they are as a total, but they are the highest rated segments on the TNA Impact. However, I don't believe they draw that much buys to their pay-per-views. On the other hand, while WWE Divas and TNA Knockouts, importance-wise, both have their fair share of fans along with the women, the TNA Knockouts do have their fair share of fans among the males because of their wrestling, not entirely and solely on their looks, but based on the wrestling. So that's pretty important in my eyes, but still it's very hard to say how important they are. For the business, I don't think they are that important, because if you took them away, I think TNA would still go as they do right now, perhaps lose a little, because it's a nice contrast to have both women and men. But I give TNA a 3 here, solely because I don't know. WWE here gets 1.5 because I don't see they have any importance whatsoever except eye candy, and now that WWE is PG rated, but slowly moving away from there, getting more sexually oriented, but they are still not that important to WWE. So 1.5 star power. WWE's women's coming to TNA, such as Tara Victoria, gets monster push right away. She won the title. Gail Kim from TNA to WWE. WWE are really gonna let her test her wings and admit colors before getting a title. She will have a title shot against Mickie James on Raw. That was botched up, unfortunately, for Gail Kim, because she is a lot better than that, and that match did not reflect her ability at all. She had a very good matches on SmackDown upon her arrival with Maurice. So she is very good, but she has to prove her colors before getting a title shot, and that's the whole big scenario in WTNA, because wrestlers coming from WWE to TNA gets more push than the guys coming from TNA to WWE. So WWE star power here is 4, because they are also very recognized outside of wrestling, media and so on. TNA Knockouts get 2.5. Also talking here about because the WWE Divas have annually, except for this year, posed for Playboy, which is a huge deal. Characters. WWE don't push their characters in women that much if we compare to TNA, who does a fantastic job here. I don't see how they could do that any better either, especially with a women like Daphne, the Beautiful People, Awesome Kong, etc, etc, ODB. They go to the fullest extent with their characters. So I give them a 5 there, top grade, while WWE gets 2.5. They have characters, they have personalities, but they keep them down a lot. However, she saw Michelle McCool versus Melina at Night of Champion, a very good match, very competitive, and that's the way it should be. More of that in WWE, and they would raise the bar on their Divas wrestling, and bring in more characters, more subtle small things that actually makes the Divas seem more important and have more of characters, such as Alicia Fox, who now is the #1 contender. I can't really say what her, she sounds like a disco girl, but I can say because she doesn't have that strong of character. She is very flexible, but that's not a personality. So all in all, I'm gonna count this together, and TNA gets 23.5 stars of 30 possible. That's pretty good. And WWE gets a lot of helps here. 16.5. So it's TNA 23.5 to WWE 16.5 stars, and that means that TNA Knockouts win. Yay! WWE gets a little more than half of the possible stars from me. Now it's your chance to talk about and compare WWE Divas to TNA Knockouts, and who do you prefer to watch, and whom do you think is the best, and whom do you think is the most important to their company. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.